The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guest and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Weekend, Spaced Out Radio Limited, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of this broadcast or podcast without the express written consent of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Weekend, or Spaced Out Radio Limited is strictly prohibited. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott, and I would like to invite you to listen Monday through Friday right here on Spaced Out Radio. 3 hours a night of the top stories with the top guests, ranging topics from UFOs to ETs, ghosts to Sasquatch, and everything in between. We are live every night, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. So come on in and take a listen at spacedoutradio.com. Spaced Out Radio will take you out of this world.
Scout 6316, 8.8 for 6,000.
Scout 6316, North Approach, going to maintain 3,000, number 1 for the right.
3,000, Scout 6316.
Redwood 811, going to maintain 4,000. Airport's open to Fox 1.
Take you higher and higher and higher. You feel it over and over again. Take you higher and higher and higher. You feel it over and over again.
6 Roman Carefly, runway heading, runway 5. Let's take off.
Check!
And we are ready for takeoff. Sit back, relax. It's time to travel with Cosmic Passport. Spaced Out Weekend presents Elizabeth Anglin's Cosmic Passport, a 1-hour warm-up of news, stories, thoughts, and ideas to captivate your mind. You can follow us at spacedoutradio.com.
Now 20 years have passed us by, and we look back and count the time. Burning like the summer sun, when the world was young. As I lay staring from the ground, and sniffing trumpets wait to sound.
And now, here's Our Lady of Flight, Cosmic Passport with Elizabeth Anglin.
From this place.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Weekend on spacedoutradio.com. This is Elizabeth Anglin, your host of Cosmic Passport, coming to you from Uncle Jimbo's cabin in the Great White North. Oh, did I say that? Well, anyway, it's a magical cabin existing simultaneously in Canada and the United States this evening, only on Spaced Out Weekend. And just before we start our show with Eileen Meyer, I am going to welcome our newest member station. They may not be online yet, but we are waiting for, with bated breath, WQEE FM 99 Rock, broadcasting to the greater Atlanta area out of Noonan, Georgia. We can't wait till you come online. We hope we see you next weekend. And we also welcome and give thanks to listeners tuning in through Renegade Talk Radio in Las Vegas, UPRN 107.7 in New Orleans, Wolf Spirit Radio, Forest Moon Paranormal, the High Plains Radio Network, as well as listeners coming to us from TuneIn and iTunes. Please join us on chat if this is your first night tuning in, and even if it's not, we love to see your chats. And you can find a chat room at spacedoutradio.com, Forest Moon Paranormal, SOR Space Travelers on Facebook. It is SOR Space Travelers, literally, that's what it's called. We would love to have you in there. If you love spacedoutradio.com, consider donating just $5 a month to join our SOR Space Travelers group. If you do join, you get really cool stuff like free books, swag, private interviews, a newsletter, and the archives of all the spacedoutradio.com shows, and more. And now I am very happy to announce that we have Eileen Meyer in the house. She is an amazing singer-songwriting genius, I would call her. And she's also an experiencer and a contactee of light beings. And she has a new book coming out in, we hope, early 2017. Since I also had to write a book and it was like, okay, I'm not quite done yet. Okay, I'm not quite done yet. You know, if it's not early 2017, we're going to be okay with the middle of 2017. Eileen, what do you think? The middle of 2017?
I love that you are an experiencer and you have written a book too, and that it's actually I so relate to that. When is it ever done? It's never done, is it?
No, because you keep finding out more, and then how do you always wonder, am I explaining this in a way that people can understand it?
Oh my gosh, yes. That's the toughest part. Yeah. But we do our best, don't we?
We do. Now, do you have a title for your book, or a
yes.
possible title? What is it?
It's called Koyopa, Contact Within.
Okay.
The word Koyopa is the Mayan word equivalent, I would say, for Kundalini.
Okay. And if people want to contact you through the internet, how can they find you and find out more about your book and your work?
I would say the best route would be my website at eileenmeyer.com. It's EILEENMEYER.com.
Okay. And you do healing work with people as well as write music. Is that right?
I do. It's more along the lines of the intuitive work at this point. Okay. I'm a trained hands-on healer, but this is just kind of the way that it's gone.
Okay. Well, I love the intro to your book, and I think so many people on Spaced Out Radio can relate to this introduction, and so I'm going to read it because we talked a little bit about how you thought, well, maybe you weren't an experiencer that other experiencers can relate with. And you were thinking about, free experiencers and the alien contact and alien abduction. But a lot of what you say in your intro also relates to people who do see angels and light beings or have a paranormal experience with spirit guides. So in the intro of her book, this is what Eileen says. When I was 3 years old, I became obsessed with reading books, lots of them. By the time I became a first grader, the principal and my teacher placed me in a fifth grade reading class. It seemed to resolve the issue of my fidgeting. In my reality, each book was a song. I loved the steady rhythm, music, and overtones of imagination that blossomed from each page. The natural world was the same. I listened to the song, and I was the song. No separation. Life was magical that way, and I knew instinctively that my heart was about creating songs, too. 5 decades have passed, and here I am. I've written many songs in my life, but this is my first book. Somehow, they became separate things somewhere along the way. I've had help with this lifelong book project. It's just one item on a kind of wish list from the angels. Early on, I started calling them angels because I liked the word, and the definition provided by my religious mother seemed to fit. The word matched the feelings of my other family, beings of light that were always with me and spoke to me through a kind of wordless language in my heart. They showed me that I was connected to them through feelings, and these feelings were connected to a network of beautiful colored spheres of light. I was visited repeatedly. They arrived in this light and would wrap me inside their beautiful songs. I needed this resonant foundation. I needed to remember their love. Otherwise, I would not survive. They left for a time, and after years of worldly conditioning had laid claim to my essence, the scope of the visits changed. They initiated a sort of re-entrainment program, once again lifting me to the baseline of what is inherent and natural. How quickly I had forgotten, how quickly we all forget. We are far more than what we think, with far more consciousness beyond the spectrum of what people like to call normal. It turns out that the evolution of consciousness requires us to first activate, then reorient to the rest of our natural design. Apparently, I took a lifetime course. I needed to know how to teach or remind others of their forgotten song. The problem was I kept forgetting too. Thankfully, of the many beautiful qualities of the angels, patience is one. This is something I think every experiencer at SOR can relate to, especially having to forget and then being in the place of remembering again. So I love so much this part. It's wonderful. So now when do you see your beings often, or what's your relationship like?
It's the feeling, it's the resonance, and over time, over my life, they taught me how to step into this resonant state so that I can commune with them. And I should say that I've had such a wide variety of experiences, but the main point of the book is that I never had the outer spaceships in the sky experience. I did in lucid dream states. But it was always within, and it was always, in the pictures in my mind's eye. And I have had the experiences with the grays, a praying mantis-looking being, and the light beings. But it's never been an outside world 3D thing. It's always been more of a multidimensional experience.
Well, that's something that we talk about a lot on SOR when we have guests on, that we're coming to discover amongst us that you can have the physical experience with the greys or the mantises or the groups and the reptilians, or you can have just the astral or just the spiritual, like you're not actually physically having anything happen, but you are being updated, educated, informed, traveling, visiting. And some people are not, I know you mentioned about being on some of the groups on Facebook and some of the support groups, and it can be a little disconcerting sometimes because people tend to get stuck into one mode. Something very physical is happening, or something isn't happening, or mine are just light beings, or mine are only this.
Yes, yeah, we compare. Yeah.
And yeah.
For me, it's been repeated transformations of consciousness, and I'm always far more interested. I should say I'm interested in everyone's stories and everyone's experiences. But I always want to know, well, what did you feel? What did you learn? How did it change you? Are you different in your life now as a result of it? Did you work through the fear? Because that's one theme throughout my whole book is it like I said at one point, it wasn't all rainbows and fairies. It was total terror at times. And I've learned over time that for me, I'm not saying that this is for everyone, but for me, it was, I learned that it was my own fear that would erupt when I was around high vibrational intelligence. And so I had to, over time, over the years, adapt to it in order to even begin to understand or comprehend the communion, or the they seem to arrive in these data fields, like it's a field of information. And I've learned how to translate that. And I'm very careful with words too, and labels. I don't like overused words and labels. So some people call me a channel as a result, and that's okay. But I call it more of a resonant translation.
Yeah. Wow, that's so interesting. Now, you also talk about being a Kundalini experiencer, and do you ever find that when you're in the frequency of this information, with this higher level data stream, are you having Kundalini experiences at that time, or is that just something else that happens in your life?
Yeah, very good question. It does trigger the Kundalini or Koyopa episodes. Not always, but there were times where it's one and the same thing to me.
Okay. I have another friend who is very similar. She has, as you say, Kundalini episodes, and she has alien experiences in them. Yes. But she hasn't gone anywhere. She's not been picked up by a UFO. No, she's not missed any time. Nobody's missing her. Nobody's going to look for her.
Yeah. Same here. Yes, I understand.
And for her, it's very hard because what has happened is that people think she's nuts.
Really?
During that time. Yeah.
And I'm sure you can't relate to that either, right?
Well, it's never happened to me because I got very lucky. I had a police report and I was missing, and people saw things. So I had the very physical kind. Uh-huh. Yeah, lucky or unlucky, I had the very physical things that make you go missing with the police looking for you. And
that sounds very exciting.
I know. Well, and I also I never get Kundalini to the extent that I'm not. She would go so far into the experience that she wasn't really relating with the rest of us down here. I could relate with her because I knew where she was. I'd go look, I'd sort of look at where her mind was, and I'd remote view what she was doing. I'd be like, oh yeah, that, And everybody else is trying to put her in the mental institution and dope her up, and I'm like, no, just give her a little bit.
Yeah, that's why we experiencers have to speak about this now, and that's the motivation for writing the book. Is I want to hear from more experiencers, and so I wrote my story, and I'm putting it out there because I think we all need to start talking about this. Instead of just shutting people down and telling them they're crazy. I don't believe I'm crazy. I believe that many of us are being contacted, and our consciousness is being changed, our bodies, our DNA, and we're changing into a more holistic consciousness. And it's, another word for it is awakening, the marriage of the masculine and feminine, becoming whole beings again, like we were designed to be, as you read earlier.
I agree. And unlocking parts of our intelligence and capacities.
Yes, emotional intelligence especially, I feel.
Yeah. I'm just checking here to see if we have any questions yet. No? Okay. But Bob Davis, one of our longtime listeners in the Spaced Out Radio chat room, says that he has felt the Kundalini rush before. But it's only for a few seconds. So that's interesting. So have you, now you don't have to mention this if you don't, did you ever have a problem, not being understood that you ended up being hospitalized or anything like that?
No, that's never happened, thankfully. I have isolated, and I've fortunately had people in my life at these times they were able to provide support for me and to help me, even if they didn't totally understand what was happening to me. They were large enough in their consciousness to be able to hold the space so that I could process what had happened and integrate. As you know, it's a lot of this is about integration. But I have noticed that the integration part of it has sped up quite a bit once you go through enough of these Kundalini or visitations. You just, I guess your frequency, I mean, I'm going to say a cliche phrase, where frequency is being raised, and we're able to adapt to it more quickly. Just last week, they don't come as often in the night, but just last week I had another visitation, and it fills my body and lifts me to that space where I can then hear messages. And that sounds very schizophrenic, doesn't it?
It sounds, it depends on whether or not you believe in mediumship and telepathy. And if you're, a contactee or an experiencer, it's like telepathy, oh yeah, that, of course.
Yeah, and telepathy, I like that word that people use sometimes as more of a empathic, heart-based communion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sharing feelings, sharing. My idea is that one of the things that we're learning to do is become more empathic and more compassionate, not just to ourselves and people, but to all other beings.
Right.
And that's before we can become universal humans, we have to show that we can have the empathy and the compassion and the lack of fear to work with other beings who are very different than us or different than what we're used to seeing.
Right. And you probably totally get why they don't just land on the White House lawn, right? Or they don't just arrive here and say, hey, guys. It has everything to do with our vibration, our frequency. We're conditioned, very conditioned beings here to just use a very small portion of our consciousness. So they taught me over time how to reactivate that through working with feelings and consciousness around. So it's like mindfulness, but with your feelings.
Uh-huh. We have a medium who works with us. Her name is Joanna, and one of her guides has recently switched over to being an alien. She's not, as far as we knew before this time, in the past 6 months, a contactee or experiencer. She was just a medium giving readings, and all of a sudden she was approached by Rob, he's non-corporeal, but he's an alien. And we did a 3-hour show with him, and we asked, what the purpose of humanity was. We were asking, okay, what does Rob know about all this alien stuff and human stuff? And he said that we were the vehicles for learning emotions. The human lifetimes are for learning about emotions and how to handle emotion.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and also expand on it to include, again, that we are designed for this whole consciousness, which includes consciousness of feelings. I was taught that it's actually your feeling nature and the heart network that is like the telephone line back to our source, and all other intelligent, heart, benevolent beings.
Beautiful. So I want to ask you a little bit about your timeline and your songs. So from the intro to your book, it looks like you were aware or mostly aware of these contacts as a child. You forgot, you went away, and re-entrainment began. What was the period of time from how old were you when you began to forget, and when did you start to re-wake up?
Well, it was around 7 years old, where I was informed by my friends that used to come visit me in the sandbox on the side of the house. And I was told that they would be leaving, or it would feel like they left me for a while. But it was just all part of, my life and the plan for my life. And it was very, very upsetting to me because I was still trying to adapt to the family, my human family. And then it was probably it was the early teen years when I started to have the experiences again, and that was pretty intense. That was a very high activity time, and it's when I started to sing, or I was obsessed with singing, and it's in the book. I had an experience of singing and landing on a note and just expanding into absolute oneness in the resonance of the note. And I was so excited about it that I wanted to tell my religious mother about it, but that didn't go very well. And at that point, I pretty much understood what God really was. God was sound. God was energy. God was resonance. Because I felt it and I knew what it was, and that we're all connected to it. We're just not using the right language to hear or to comprehend it. So teen years, preteen and teen years were a very high activity time. And then it was just kind of off and on. Waking up, levitating above my bed and surrounded by light beings, and not really freaking out at that age. Just kind of, it's like there's just this part of you that goes, okay, we're doing this again, okay. It was so, it happened so often that I was used to it. The problem was when you would forget and say something about it to a family member or to a friend, and that's when you realized very quickly that this is not something that you talk about. And feelings, I noticed, were also something that we weren't really supposed to talk about. So isn't that interesting that they're one and the same?
Right. And did you, from high school on or teenage years on, did you start to get re-entrained, or was it in your adult life that came back?
It was throughout. And then the music, it's phases. I write about this in the book. I didn't sing for quite some time because of my life circumstances. And that was something that was who I was. And when I got back into singing, I realized that that's my identity. That's who I am, is making sound. And it wasn't until, it was the mid-'90s that I started to have very, very intense experiences. Actually, the most intense experience was in 1991. kind of a more typical, what someone would call an abduction. But I never used that word. It never felt like I was taken against my will. And that was a highly transformative experience and changed my whole life. And from that point on, the contact was different. It was more open. It was more equal. I guess I graduated in some sense. I wasn't. It was overcoming huge fear in order to be present with the experience. Then the music started coming after a major Kundalini event, and I take you through that entire thing. I had quit music. I was basically a rock and roll singer in clubs and in Southern California, and just singing other people's songs, and I'd co-written a few songs with an original band out of San Diego. And I was working at an online record label in the mid-'90s, and I got laid off, and then I quit the band, and I said, I'm just done. I'm just done with everything. It just doesn't feel right. Nothing feels like it's a match for me in the outer world. That's a common thread in my life, too. And immediately, after I recovered, it was about 3 days of recovery from the Kundalini event. It's a kind of a magical story how the music started to arrive, and I had to learn how to capture it without really knowing chords on the. I knew how to read music, but I didn't know how to capture what I was hearing, so I had to adapt to that method. And that's when the music that I've recorded started to come, and that's that's the nutshell version.
So let's talk about that, because I want to have James play us "Lily Got Mad," because to me that's sort of like, all right, I'm changing. I'm not doing what I was doing before because I'm mad with it. I'm done with that. I'm gonna pick up myself and get myself someplace other than this mindset or this energy or this place. Was that at that time, or was it long after, or were you thinking about that when you wrote Lily Got Mad?
Lily Got Mad is kind of a just a mix of there's a little bit of domestic abuse thrown in there too. It's basically a woman saying, right, just what you said. It's I have to get mad first. I have to really feel what I'm feeling and acknowledge it and say this is actually real, and I'm not going to buy into this anymore. So it's kind of a statement about snapping out of that victim mindset.
Mm-hmm. And I love the way you do it in the song. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I would like James to play it, because it's like the song is going all along, and all of a sudden you hear this voice, and it's like, oh,
oh yeah,
okay. So you want to play that? That'd be great. All right. They can't hear us, can they?
Such a sweet, sweet girl, such a sweet smile. But oh, what a big, big heart. But you took her for granted, you took her too far. And I've never been more glad than on the day that Lily and gave more than you deserve. But I like what you gave to her. Yeah, the point of no return. I've never been more glad than on the day that Lily got mad. Lily got mad. Shattered the walls, broke down the doors. Whispers turned to thunder. Everyone heard. Too many buttons pushed away back to a place of utter nakedness, where every mask will burn and every heart will learn. No more, if only. No more, why me? 'Cause playing the victim is so, well, boring. Lily got mad. Lily got mad. Shattered the walls, broke down the doors. Whispers turned to thunder. Lily, oh Lily, oh Lily. Lily got mad. No more if only. No more why me. Whispers turned to thunder. And oh, what a sweet, sweet roar.
Wow. I love the voice. I love what you say in the middle of the song. It's so
I had
boring.
to. It is boring.
Being a victim
Yeah, eventually,
is boring.
eventually I did have to do some trauma therapy in my life, and I found that to be just amazing. The EMDR, brain spotting type therapies. It's not talk
Now,
therapy.
It's not talk theory. How does EMDR work? I know some people who do it. Somebody's doing something similar, or ESET with horses. It's a trauma therapy. But how does EMDR work?
Well, we started with EMDR with the therapist I had, and we switched over to brain spotting. So I'm more familiar with brain spotting, which is kind of was born from EMDR. And it's really just finding, okay, I'm not the best person to talk about this. I can only speak from my experience. Okay, there's the disclaimer. But when we experience trauma, it's stored in our bodies, in our physicality. And I talk about this in the book where that does block your ability to tap into your feelings and resonant abilities. So when we clear these traumas, and believe me, everybody has trauma. You don't have to have a violent experience. Simply just trying to be a human here in this environment, in this world, is traumatic. So basically, it's the position that your eyes were in when the trauma occurred. You move your eyes around, and then you locate, you get the feeling, and then emotion can come out and release. And it's very quick. And if you have a really good therapist, which I did, they guide you through that. And it's not something that you have to spend a lot of time talking about. It just comes out. And it clears you, and you feel so much lighter, and that victim leaves. And it's such an amazing experience to live your life when the victim is gone. it's just a whole different way of living, and I just can't recommend it enough.
So for all of you experiencers or folks who are dealing with victimization, here's a new one, EMDR. I don't think we've spoken about it much on the weekends or even during the week, but it's just EMDR, and you can look it up. I'm going to look it up when we get off the phone, because that's been, my life since I found out about I was an abductee, and it's been not being the victim, not being afraid, and I'm pretty much over it. But I like to know things that work, because when you find somebody who's stuck, they're really stuck until they're not stuck.
Exactly.
And anything that shoehorns them out of the stuck phase is good.
Yes,
so.
If you truly want to move forward and embody more of your soul and your consciousness, it's that's why I highly recommend it. It's just a part of the whole process of releasing the past, and so that you're available in the present moment to perceive and to employ more of yourself. And I think we need this in our world right now as well. If we just got everybody clearing out the past and being available to be more of who they are in the world, I think the outer world would change quite rapidly.
Well, that'd be wonderful.
Yes.
So back to your book. When your book comes out, what's your fondest hope for it? What's your fondest hope that people will learn or experience through reading it?
That, first of all, that it's real. And I'm also hoping that other experiencers come forward who have had the major transformational experiences and talk about it, and not be afraid to, just fully be who you are. That's my greatest hope, I would say, that others will resonate with it and want to speak up themselves. And also, again, to just really embrace experiencers more and invite experiencers to share. And that's why I'm so grateful that you invited me here on your show, because I don't feel that we're getting enough airtime. The actual experiencers, I get a little frustrated when people are studying it in a scholarly way or in a left-brained way, and not including or adding in what it feels like, how it changes you. I know Free, F-R-E-E experiencers, they're doing a lot of good work with their website and with the data that they're collecting. But sometimes I get frustrated just overall and throughout my life for just not being able to have a platform to speak about it. So my intent, once the book comes out, is I will talk about it anywhere, when. Because once people read my life story, it's all out there. I didn't hold back on anything. So I'm exposed. So I may as well just dive into it and go full bore.
That's a really good idea. One of the things that happened when I wrote my book, because I did it from the same attitude of, once I put it out there, there's nothing to fear in terms of somebody finding something out.
Yes.
Because if you read the book, it's in the book.
Yes, exactly.
And if you don't read the book, you're not gonna. So I don't have to worry about you finding out. Or
that's well said. Yes, and it's a very freeing feeling. It really is like coming out. in other kinds of coming out in our world, it feels exactly the same way, because you find yourself throughout your life just, walking on eggshells or dancing around things or pretending to be normal and, wanting to be in social situations, but not always feeling comfortable because of, the level of honesty. The more honest a person is around me, and this is also really important when I do sessions with people, the more honest you are, the more data that comes. I mean, it comes pouring in if you're being honest. So I like being around honest people, and there's still quite a lot of fear about being totally honest about who you are in our world, and I'd like to see that change too.
Yeah, but one of the things I learned is that also as I was more honest or open, I attracted people that were more trustworthy with the honesty. Mm-hmm. And I was not as attractive to people who weren't, and they didn't come, into my sphere of being as much. So my sister said to me, my sister's an energy worker, and she said before the book was done, she said, you're attracting people who want to get in your space when they feel the energy that you have, and then they want to get in your space and hack it up, like with axes. And then once the book was done, none of that was happening. Mm-hmm. So
sorry, my dog is barking in the background.
Yeah, we have the dogs and the cats and the cat bull and the people outside. So yeah, welcome to the show. This is Spaced Out Weekend. And what's your dog's name?
Bodhi.
Bodhi, and Bodhi will be singing "Get Away from My Door."
Exactly. He's a very good watchdog.
Yeah. He's doing his job.
I like what you were saying, Elizabeth. It really I think what we're doing when we write the book and we send it out into the world is we're owning it, right? Whereas before we were disowning it and still trying. I mean, I'm not going to speak for you, but I was just desperately trying to be normal most of my life, and it just never worked. It was actually, a comedy when I would try.
Yeah, it was a bad comedy. It was one of
very
those
bad comedy. Yeah.
It was the TV. It was the sitcom you don't want to watch because it's like, oh my God, that's going to be so embarrassing. Oh my God, I have to walk into the other room. Oh my God, she's going to try to do this. Oh my God. Yeah. And I run away to the kitchen and go make popcorn at that point. It's like, get me out of here. So the other song, we're going to do two songs, but I want to talk about, was it Just in Time? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Did you get the third song? So do you
I did. Yeah, okay. I have Home, but I like Just in Time more. So
yeah. Oh, love the honesty. Yeah. So what Just in Time is on the third CD, and that's really an ownership thing. That was like, all right. I've tried it all. I've tried to wear the masks and do what other people do to fit in here, and I can't. It's very draining, and it's not worth the waste of energy.
So hit it, James. We want to hear Just in Time.
I've got a present for the world, and it's me, simply being me. I really tried, I couldn't sleep inside the ultimate dream, where we all pretend we cannot see There's no one else to be, nowhere else to go. It's enough, you know, if you'll just breathe and be alive, alive, eyes open wide, in time, in time. Welcome, you're just in time. You are another me. You are more than what you believe. You are the mighty sun, you are the rain, and we are love itself. With many hands and fingers to touch, to feel, to know. There's no one else to be, nowhere else to go. It's enough, you know, if you just breathe and be alive, alive, eyes open wide, in time, in time. Welcome, you're just in time. You're just in time, and space is where I see your face.
And that, wow. So that's Eileen owning it just in time.
And encouraging others to own it.
Yeah. You can do this. Just own it. Mm-hmm. I love that. I think it's so empowering and so beautiful, and it's just wow. If people want to buy your music, where do they go?
It's the CD Inevitable is on iTunes, so there is one album there. All the music is on my website and can be purchased and downloaded there as well.
Okay. And your website is eileenmeyer.com.
Correct.
M-E-Y-E-R. Eileen, EILEENMEYER.
Correct.
.com.
Yeah.
And when you work with people, when you do sessions, what do people usually come to you for? Are they other experiencers? Are they going through transition? What do you find you're working with most?
I find that I get the panicked calls where there's just too much. There's overwhelm happening and confusion, and what do I do in my life now at this point? And it's a good place to be. I always congratulate people when they get to that place where the old ways don't work anymore, and it's time to open up to embodying more of yourself with a capital S. And so, as I shared earlier, I just need them to start speaking the truth from a feeling place, and then I begin to tune into more of the overtones using the sound and music analogy. I can hear and perceive who they are, and so really reading the soul, and the soul sends messages as to how we can how can we weave more of these greater, more expanded parts of the self into the life, so that you can be on with what you're truly here for, and begin living a more fulfilling life. And also physical illnesses too are just a symptom of that. So sometimes there's a focus on physical problems too, breaking through that.
Right. So your book is, again, going to come out in 2017.
I'm hoping February.
Hoping February, but if it's June, we're going to be okay with that.
Thank you for that.
It's not a race.
I know, you understand. You understand. I know.
Yeah. It's called Coyopa Contact Within.
Okay.
And it's about the more internal alien and angelic and light being experiences where the police don't go look for you. Which is good.
But sometimes friends have to check up on you and find out why you've dropped out. Yeah.
Exactly. And you can find her music through her website at eileenmeyer.com. Thank you so much for coming and chatting with us this evening, and I hope to have you back, so I'll give you a contact about coming back closer to when the book is out.
Oh, I would love that. And thanks so much for having me. And thank you, James.
Yeah, he's working. He's over there. All right.
Well, it's been delightful.
Yeah, thank you. We're going to talk a little bit about what's coming up next before I pass the show, Spaced Out Weekend, over to James and Skeeter. Skeeter's doing her new show tonight, isn't she, James?
She is. She's doing The Shift, and it's going to be the darker side of psychics. No, it's just some stuff that we've picked up in the last little while, and we're going to be looking into it through the sensitive side, through connecting to spirit, on what this thing is. What is the shift? What is the magnetic pole shifting? And if that is to happen, what is in line for us humans that are gathered along the coasts of North America and Europe? What is possibly going to happen, and why do we call it the shift? Where did the word come from? But we're going to be beating this down and using Skeeter and her connections to the other side to get a little more information.
Oh, wow. Is this going to be a series?
Yeah.
Or is this just tonight?
Nope, it's
oh, wow.
We're having Psychic Sundays now.
The Psychic Sundays, but
yep.
Tonight it's the shift and shift and yeah.
And then next week is Two Mediums and a Large on the Sunday, and then after that is the shift again, like we did last summer. Okay. No, hold on. Let's shift again. No, I can't sing like.
I know what you did last
Eileen.
summer.
Stop it! Stop it! Eileen's going to send one of her buddies out to kill me in my sandbox. No, it should be interesting. It is. I've been looking forward to this because of some things that actually was divulged to Skeeter during a reading off air a couple of weeks ago. It was absolutely amazing, and we decided to pop that stuff out and see what the listener thinks and whether or not they're going to be moving inland and north. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, well that sounds, when it's hot down here in New Mexico, I can totally see going north. And I like the mountains, so I'm not leaving the mountains. But, I may be knocking on your door in a few years. Yeah. I got to listen
if I live here.
Find out.
I'm only 150 feet above sea level. We'll talk.
Dave or Corey's house. Yeah.
Yeah, go to Dave's. He's way house. Up in the bush. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Well, this is Elizabeth Anglin. I'm checking out for the night. I'm going to be listening to the shift for a little while. If you want to talk to me, get a reading, check out my website, ElizabethAnglin.com. I do animal communication, Akashic record readings, intuitive healings, and more. Or just send me an email, info@ElizabethAnglin.com. Love you guys. I will see you next weekend.
Bye-bye. And I'll be back with Skeeter Welhouse and the shift right after this. Hi there, this is Dave Scott, and I would like to invite you to listen Monday through Friday right here on Spaced Out Radio. 3 hours a night of the top stories with the top guests, ranging topics from UFOs to ETs, ghosts to Sasquatch, and everything in between. We are live every night, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. So come on in and take a listen at spacedoutradio.com. Spaced Out Radio will take you out of this world.
Hi there, this is your psychic medium Joanna, and I would love it if you would join us every other Sunday on Spaced Out Weekend. With host James Tyson, we'll bring you personal psychic messages on two mediums and a large. Questions about love, life, career changes. We would love it if you would come and join us live. Call in and listen in for the experience. Allow us to open the doors to your other side. Two mediums and a large, heard only on Spaced Out Weekend at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for news beyond the mainstream news? Head to spacedoutradio.com and check out the SOR Spacewire. This is Spaced Out Radio's Eric Markham, News Director for the SOR Spacewire. Daily, I will bring you intriguing stories and outlandish reports from what's going on around the world. UFO sightings, paranormal activity, conspiracies, alternative health, and so much more. And if you have news, email me at news@spacedoutradio.com.
Attention Spaced Out Radio listeners. For only $5 a month, you can join Spaced Out Radio Space Travelers. Your membership at spacedoutradio.com will give you access to private fan area on the website, get you a monthly newsletter, draws for monthly swag, and a whole lot more. Sign up today to become a part of the Spaced Out Radio experience.
For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. With their money-back guarantee and the many benefits, how can you afford not to get one? Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com for mind, body, and spirit, and expect a miracle.
Patrolling the Pacific Northwest, we are always on the lookout for the strange and unassuming stories that real people are experiencing. Hi, I'm Vincent Zunza from Pacific North Weird. Me and Alexandra Sullivan have teamed to bring to you those odd stories that never seem to make it into the mainstream. Stories so weird that will leave you scratching your head wondering, is this real? It's as real as it gets with Pacific North Weird. You can watch our videos right here at spacedoutradio.com.
It's time to go live on Spaced Out Weekend.
"13, please." Oh, hi, Kevin. Oh, is that the time? Kevin, my friend, don't you find that watch just a little bit loud? Well, I certainly hope our buddy Bumblefoot is playing when we get there. Oh, you stinky big bundle of hair. I said Bumblefoot, not Bigfoot. Oh, it's going to be a long night.
It's time to head to the 13th floor of the old log cabin for Spaced Out Weekend with James Tyson. You can tweet James at James Tyson SOR. You can find him on Instagram, Spaced Out Weekend, as well as on Facebook. On YouTube, our channel is Spaced Out Radio Show, and you can check out our website, spacedoutradio.com.
Little brother has taken control, shoveling dirt in every hole. Predators to condemn your soul, watching you and watching me. We're all connected but separated, misunderstood and so frustrated. A million armies of one have invaded, watching you and watching me. We live behind glass curtains and act like nothing's wrong. Soon you will belong. I know you're out there somewhere. We've watched you for so long.
story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And now, perched high in his captain's chair, way above the clouds, here's James Tyson.
That's me. Thank you, Dave, and welcome to Spaced Out Weekend. And thank you for listening to us on spacedoutradio.com, on Spreaker, the High Plains Talk Radio Network, and coming soon, WQEE 99 Rock, the key in Greater Atlanta area. We want to thank our new affiliate right now, which is the United Public Radio Network at 107.7 in New Orleans, and the listeners from over 160 countries around this little speck of dirt circling through the universe. Here at Space Out Radio, we broadcast every night of the week as we want to be your one-stop shop when it comes to the supernatural, paranormal, conspiracy, UFO, spiritual, and more. The guitar god, Ron Bumblefoot Thal of Art of Anarchy, is the man behind the official sound of Spaced Out Radio. Also, you can check me out on Twitter at James Tyson, SOR. Give our Facebook pages a like, Spaced Out Radio Show, and me, Spaced Out Weekend. On Instagram, you can find me at Spaced Out Weekend. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show, where you can also find us on iTunes and Intune, whatever the heck that is. And of course, our website, spacedoutradio.com. At this time, I'd also like to thank everyone taking part in the chat room, Spaced Out Radio chat room on Spreaker, and our flagship chat room, the SOR Space Travelers. A hat tip to our fans and partners on Facebook at Euphoria Chronicles of the Unknown, Forest Moon Paranormal. You're aware of them, aren't you, Skeeter? Yeah. And I want you to sign up for the SOR Space Travelers Club. It's $5 a month via PayPal, and with that, you get your names entered into a monthly draw for prizes, access to private groups, interviews, access to special section on our website, and much more. That's way cheaper than your daily half-cap foamed Ariana Grande with cinnamon, so why don't you give that a shot? While at spaceoutradio.com, you can read our latest blogs and check out Eric Markham's SOR Spacewire for your latest and weird news. And we also have a new feature. Well, actually, it's not that new anymore. I've been saying it's been a new feature for a couple of months now. But the SOR Sightlines is there for you. If you've had an experience and want it investigated by our researcher, Mike Smith, just fill out the Sightlines report and we'll get back to you. All information is 100% confidential. And again, thanks a lot to those guys down at United Public Radio Network in New Orleans at 107.7. They're a great group of guys. And tonight, here we are on the shift. This is the first of a series that kind of came to us at the tail end of Skeeter doing readings. Now, Skeeter Welhouse, you know her from Two Mediums and a Large. She drops by every so often. She is a psychic, a spirit medium, an ET experiencer. Now, being that this is the first episode, we'll be doing this shift twice a month. Now, we'd like to know through Skeeter what the heck is going to happen. Now, when I mean that, we were doing I was along for the ride. I was listening to Skeeter do a reading on one of our callers. It actually went overtime off the air. Once it went off the air, some remarkable things happened, and these happened within Skeeter's house. Skeeter lives in Washington State, up in the Pacific Northwest here, and this was a little bit different than she's experienced. The information that she was provided, which, again, being a medium in between the source of the information and the person who is to receive the information, knocked her socks off and mine. And that's what we want to talk about. Now, Skeeter, how are you? Oh, before you say anything, I just, she is not only a medium and ET experiencer, but she is a member of Forest Moon Paranormal and a
longtime member of another paranormal group that was actually down in New Mexico. So she's been through the the fires of actually dealing with the spirit realm, the typical quote unquote ghosts. In fact, she came out with me on a paranormal investigation in Concrete, Washington, not too far from where she lives. But Skeeter, welcome back to Spaced Out Weekend and to your little home here called The Shift. And all of a sudden, Skeeter's voice disappeared and echoed in the far distance. I swear she was talking loud and clear while we were on the break. Skeeter, are you with us again?
Yeah.
No, you are completely broken up and just squeaking, almost inaudible.
That is so weird. I haven't done anything.
Okay,
Can
stop.
you hear me?
Do not move from where you are. If both your feet are off the ground, keep them that way.
Okay.
Okay, welcome, Skeeter. Don't move. Don't giggle.
I'm not.
How you been?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well. Thank you very much. Fill in the listener a little bit without getting too much. Let's not give the person's name, but tell us what happened when that energy, that entity went through you and basically pushed all your regular guides out. What happened that night?
Oh, that was awesome. That was beyond words awesome. I'm
afraid you're going to have to use words, but
no interpretive dance tonight. Tom.
No, not at all. No.
It was this massive angelic being. He took over. I mean, he literally just knocked everything out. I went blank. Everything that had been coming in before went blank. I think even in this part of the conversation with you guys, I just completely hit pause. And he was just huge. I mean, I live in a 3-story building, and he went on the bottom floor. I'm in the middle, so I was by his belly button, and he went up through the 3rd floor. And the wings on this guy were just amazing. And the information he had for the caller was just amazing. I mean, if you ever question things about spirits, seeing something like this and getting verification for the messages I gave him about the shift coming and his place in the shift and what he's going through and why his life is the way it is, it just all made sense.
Yeah. Without giving his name, tell us a little bit about that reading that basically floored me, because I've never actually. We ended up, just give the listener a heads up. I Googled a name, and I don't even know how to get into this. The gentleman who was getting a reading, we found to be an angel.
Yes.
Okay, carry on. I just want to jump in. So you know what kind of the level of information we will give out about this, and just as we're not going to give the client's name, but amazing stuff. So, yeah. I was seeing actual scars where wings used to be, and he got back to me later and let me know that it wasn't scars, but rather there were lines of hair, white hair, that were where wings would be. And he said he'd never really noticed it before until then. We talked about Metatron. Yeah, the Archangel.
The Archangel, and it turns out quite a few people have been bringing this up to him. The angel that was there with us that night, I'm pretty sure either was or was speaking for Metatron, because that was a hell of a lot of energy coming through.
That was a hell of a big angel. I don't know if you can say that. Yeah. And we found that this angel, this gentleman, I've just got total chills down one side of me. This gentleman is actually an angel who met. It was connected to. He was one of the associates of Michael, the Archangel Michael.
Yes.
And
he was.
Yeah, go on.
He's one of the top angels, and his job here, we've actually had some follow-up readings, and his job here is to learn what it is to be human so that when everything comes down, he can explain better to whoever is in charge why it is that we are the way we are. He's actually been given a hell of a path.
Oh, yeah. He's got the e-ticket for...
Yeah. So one of the things that we were talking about recently is that this may come off a bit weird, but what we were talking about is that sins aren't really sins. They're warning signs of how we're not connecting the way we're supposed to, that we're not being who we're supposed to be being, that when we do things that are supposedly on the Ten Commandments as sins, that we're actually not connecting with each other, we're not connecting with spirit, we're not doing the things we're supposed to, because obviously there's something that we need. And what he's doing right now is that he's going through a path that is teaching him what that need is, what it is to need other people around, what it is to feel lonely. Why do we feel lonely? Do we actually need to feel lonely? Do we need to be around others? Learning what it is to give, what it is to actually give and be taken advantage of. Just really intense things that we don't actually look at and think about as humans. Why is it that some of us give from the bottom of our hearts and just keep giving while people keep taking? Is there a certain point where we're no longer givers but enablers? And why are we enablers? What do we get out of being an enabler? I mean, he's learning all this stuff. He's learning to understand why it is. He's being shown all this so that when it's time to speak up and step forward and take up his sword again and his wings, it can be on our behalf.
Now, he's prepping for this, and this is what we've called the shift.
Yes.
Now, tell a listener what the shift is that and where you got your information from.
I've known about the shift for a long time, actually. I started seeing it in news feeds and whatnot. But the really big information has been coming a lot more recently. And
when you say it's coming recently, are you saying like in the media or
through
spiritually?
Through spirit,
yeah.
that are actually coming forward and going, there's a reason you're going out and awakening people. Like you've been going out and telling people, guess what? You are one of us. Wake up. It's time to start getting ready.
And that's actually one of the reasons Dave and I have this show, because that's part of the reason we were told that we're doing this, is just to get the information out. And if 1 out of 1,000 people turn on and realize they're an empath or they have that association, then that's good for us. You know, at least we're part of the solution.
Exactly. And what's going to happen? Some of the big physical things, and the biggest physical thing that we're going to be talking about is what James introduced earlier, is the shift of the Earth itself. The the magnetic core of the Earth has already started shifting. People can already notice it in a delay in seasons and a delay of when the sun and the moon and all that are supposed to be coming by and going by. And that shift is also triggering global events. And it's going to continue adding to what's already there. In no way am I discrediting global warming, but this is kind of like global warming is adding to it.
Okay.
There's actually someone trying to channel through right now who's trying to get me to explain it a little bit nicer.
Okay. We can wait.
He says really what's happening is that the Earth is getting ready to shed a lot of energy.
Yeah, and we know how that happens. Those great big tectonic plates that are pressing up against each other and pressing, eventually they have to shift themselves, which unfortunately shakes a bit of water up, and that's why down the West Coast we have the signs that say tsunami evacuation route.
Yes, you do. You have those lovely evacuation signs. Since I've moved up here, I have seen them. The nice thing about living in New Mexico, there was no water, so no fear of tsunamis.
Well, not for a couple of years anyway. Oh, sorry. I shouldn't give away the end of the plot. I shouldn't give away the end of the book. Yeah. No. It's so
you should have brought that beachfront property in Arizona. I told you, James.
Now, we laugh about this, but we laugh about it because we're human. It's always too far away. It's okay.
Yes.
That volcano, it's been dormant for 10,000 years. Yeah, it's 5,000 years past when it usually pops. Yeah, but my lifespan on this earth is very, very short, and I'm sure I'll be able to come here and leave before it happens. This is something that's no longer just sneaking quietly up on us. Yeah. So getting back to this guy who's coming in, whoever he was, and
yes.
Yeah, drop by, give us your name, and it's this cleansing. I shouldn't say cleansing. Clearing of release of energy. Describe what would happen if we had a shift of the and again, the Earth itself isn't going to move. It's the internal, and this happened in 2004 a little bit, which ended up causing some major earthquakes in Indonesia and in the ocean that ended up caused a large tsunami. And if you go onto any of the scientific websites, the North Pole, the magnetic pole, moves. I think it's 10 kilometers a year, and it's going in a steady direction. So that's always quote unquote shifting, but the shift that will come it's not going to be
more dramatic.
It's going to be boom. That's it. It's going from point A to point B within a few hours, if not immediately. Snap of the fingers, gone. And what would happen? And I'm not asking you as somebody living up in the Pacific Northwest who Googled it. I'm asking you to tell me what you've been told through spirit that will happen.
He's saying it's going to be triggering a lot of... It's almost like we'll be opening up a door. It's not apocalyptic, but it's going to be... It's going to be definitely scary for us as humans.
Yeah.
A lot of things that we take for granted, that we know as our everyday, things that we hear about in science fiction and the old War of the Worlds, stuff like that we've just always been like, oh, that's okay, it's not going to happen. It's going to happen.
Wow.
We're going to be seeing things, hearing things, experiencing things. we ourselves are going to become incredibly more vulnerable.
Now,
as we learn to adapt to these new conditions. It's dinosaur, he says. It's like what happened to the dinosaurs. We are going to be put under circumstances where, as manipulators of our environment, we're actually going to have to relearn how to manipulate it again.
Okay. Now, you mentioned War of the Worlds. That is aliens coming down, kicking butt until it rains and they catch a cold or something. But when you meant War of the Worlds, you meant a basically a world or a global event, or are you talking about a bunch of spaceships coming down, zapping us?
Global event.
Global event. Okay.
He says we'll probably be more aware of the aliens at that point, of the other world. It's going to be kind of equivalent to Raising of the Mist, because even they're going to be knocked off.
Okay. Explain what you just said. Was that Raising of the Myth?
Mist. Mist. M-I-S-T-S.
Okay.
It's,
what is
it's a Fey expression. It's in fact it's a magic that I actually use now and again. It's where you raise the veil between our world and the world around us, the different worlds, the different portholes, the different those different things around us. I can't think of the right word.
Yeah, just the veil, the pulling back of the veil, really.
The veil.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, we've talked about this before, Skeeter, and I've talked about it with Joanna, the medium, and Paisley, and a few of our guests. Lisette Larkins, I've talked to Jeannie Borgen. They've had their spirit guides take a step back over the last couple of years and been replaced with extraterrestrials. Is this the reason?
He says not completely.
Okay.
But it is...
Go ahead.
It isn't part of it, but it is a part of it.
Oh, they do that all the time.
Because it's actually a really neat opportunity for a social experiment. It's a really interesting time to watch and see what happens when something of this measure happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like this is going to sound horrid, but it's going to be like someone's walking up to our little glass ant jar and shaking our jar and then watching us as we figure out how to recreate our civilization.
Very nice.
Not that I would ever do that.
No. We're going to be the shaking ants. Now, in your communication with the other side, if this shift occurs, and I'm going to say if because I'm holding on to my seat with my butt cheeks right now, if this happens, where would the point that we now call the North Pole, where on Earth would that be located?
Where is it now, or where is it going?
Where is it going?
It's, he's showing me the tip, the Horn of Africa.
Crikey. So, would that be the North Pole or the South Pole?
That's the new North Pole.
Okay. I'm going to have to get a new atlas. The Horn of Africa. Okay.
Does anyone know what that looks like?
Yeah, it's the horn. It's basically Egypt, isn't it? I'm looking at it now. No?
I'm Googling it now.
The horn. I thought it was Egypt. Okay. I'm trying to picture...
No, other end.
The other end?
The other end. Africa's at the... Egypt's at the top.
Is it top right?
Or at the bottom.
Yeah. Oh, down at the horn. Okay. So, that would mean the South Pole would be. I'm trying to.
Cape Town.
Cape Town,
South Africa. Port Elizabeth, East London.
What? No. The Horn of Africa is actually it's not that far. It's not South Africa. It's
not?
up. No. It's Somalia. Somalia is the Horn of Africa.
Is that it?
Yep.
There
it's
we
Somalia.
go. Oh.
Yeah. And so if that would be the North Pole, they're going to get chilly, damn it. So the other side of the Earth from there would be...
The South Pole.
I know. I'm just trying to think what would be on the other side of the planet from that. That would also be a...
I shouldn't have thrown away my dad's globe.
Yeah. Drat. Well, we won't need it in a few years anyway. We just have to break it out of the holder and spin it around and go, oh, look at that. So the Horn of Africa is on one end and the other side. It's funny, you go. I'm on the Google net here and I'm thinking, what is the probably you could just Google opposite side of the Horn of Africa and it'd come up saying Boston or something. So that's what I'm kind of concerned with too. Is if that is the North Pole, does that mean that's where all the cold is going to be, or is that just the magnetic pole?
It's just the magnetic pole.
Okay, so our compasses are going to be adjusted. So it's not like all of a sudden all the cold is going to shift.
Well, the Earth itself isn't going to be moving a lot. It's going to move, but it's not going to be like poop.
Okay.
It's just going to keep doing its thing and then slowly catching up to itself.
Okay.
Does
Excellent.
that make sense?
Yeah. So for
you don't have to buy a new beach property right away.
No. So what I'm thinking is we're not going to have to worry about the polar ice cap melting in 72 hours and possibly the ice cap on top of Antarctic disappearing over a period of time. It's still going to be cold at the top and the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
One of the people in our chat room has pointed out something that I do know. The poles have changed 3 times already.
Yes. Yeah.
And every time it changes, it moves just a little bit more. And this is something science has actually been tracking. The shift that's coming, though, is supposed to be a really, really big one. It's not your regular flipping of the poles like it's supposed to. It's actually going to be kind of like the big starting gun for other things that will be happening.
Yeah. Now, from the reading that you and I, or the reading that I witnessed, tell the listener what causes that shift.
It's something flying by, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
I mean, we almost it's like something skips across our atmosphere.
Yeah,
and I mean,
it's
huge. It's enough to bonk us.
Yeah, it's enough to bonk us, but it won't. The planet, it's an actual planet. Was at one point called Planet 9. It's actually called Planet X now, and Dave had a gentleman on here talking about it the other night. It's the 9th planet. It's or sometimes it depends. It's the 9th planet, the 10th planet. It's a planet. It's supposed to pass Earth every few thousand years. It's on a very large oblong orbit. And it was this planet, Planet X, and I'd love to be able to say it out loud. I think it was Nibiru, something like that. I'll look it up and get a proper pronunciation of it, because right now I can hear Eric Markham rolling over in his grave. Not grave. He's not even dead yet. He's probably just shaking his head, shaking his fist at the radio, going, Jim, jeepers. It's named Blue, blah, 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 blue. I'm going to call it Planet X because I can not only spell it, but I can say it. But it is one of those very, very cool things that are, what am I saying is very cool? Anyway, it has gone by before, but in the reading, you had mentioned it was, this time it's actually coming a bit closer. And en route, it's not all the universal energy that's coming with it. There is a little bit of ET shenanigans involved to get it to come as close as it will.
Yes.
Okay, when we say ET shenanigans...
a social experiment.
A social experiment. Let's go shake these ants up and see what they do. And see what that redheaded guy in Washington, D.C. does when we give this thing a shake. And we won't get into
they're
that.
Fascinated by him.
Yeah, let's not go to that social experiment that they were talking about either, because that one I don't want to go to. I'd rather talk about the end of the Earth than dealing with the backlash on politics. I won't talk politics, but let's relax and talk about the end of the Earth. Now, again,
yes, it's so much more nicer.
The shift that we are talking about, and from the reading we had, this isn't apocalyptic. This is basically, imagine yourself in the year, today. Imagine yourself today with no electricity, no sanitary sewer, and no water. That's it. And if you happen to live on a floodplain, well, you're going to lose a little more than electricity, sanitary sewer, and water. But right across North America, if everybody in every home lost that today, I know where I am, where it's 31, 28 degrees outside at night, -1, -2 Celsius for everybody else on the planet listening, other than those in the U.S. who are in Fahrenheit. But that's chilly, and the panic that sets in. Who's got the food? Who's got the water? Who's got the biggest guns? How are we going to get along? That's going to be the social experiment.
How are we going to get along?
Yes. Exactly. We're not going to be able to move...
That's that.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to move fuel from point A to point B unless you've got something at point B to go to that has electric power to generate a pump which will place fuel into whatever machine you're trying to fuel up. So, again, transportation systems are going to shut down. People are going to be screaming out of here trying to get away from the coast. And in where I live, I'm between a rock and a hard place. We have volcanoes to the east and the Pacific Ocean to the west. So, do I go up the hill and deal with the lava, or do I stay down here and fish out of off my front steps? This is interesting.
I personally go fishing, but that's just me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But I have to cook them in the lava. Now, we laugh about this but honestly, if we all for those of us who believe this deep down, there is a lot of death is going to come with this. A lot of death. The tsunami in 2004 in Indonesia, 500,000 people, was it, that died? It's
it was massive.
Yeah, and when you die in a tsunami, it's not like your body washes out to sea. All the bodies wash out to sea and are gone out of sight. No, they wash back in. And disease and the trauma of a disaster worldwide like that is overwhelming psychologically on the masses. You're out of work. Where do you get food? Things like this are things that is something I've always thought was going to happen way, way off in the future. And maybe it is, Skeeter. What have you been told about the timing of this?
Everyone's got time. Although all of us who are middle-aged and older, it's probably like my daughter's generation or even her grandkids. It's somewhere in between there. We might get to see it.
Okay, because when you were doing the reading, it was in 3 years. The end of 2019.
The big stuff is going to start happening is 2019 is when we're going to start seeing the play out, everything hitting.
Now,
the stuff you're talking about is coming with that.
Describe the play out, everything hitting. What do you mean by that?
I'm trying to let him speak and keep myself out of it.
Okay.
He says it's going to start with the fall of Rome.
Okay.
He says, we've done this to you guys before.
Oh, you little Dickens.
It begins with the fall of Rome. And as everything plays out, to make sure that we really get the full message, it's got to play out both physically, politically, socially, emotionally. He says humans are way too quick to box things, to label things. We're very fast to sedate our fears or to escalate our fears by labeling them, by introducing things phase after phase after phase without giving you time to breathe in between. You're going to have to learn faster, stronger. You're not going to have time to label, adjust. You're going to have to learn to work together. That's why these angels are being sent down, to learn why it is that we do the things that we do, why we would rather choose to feel the way we do over the way we should. Why are we willing to risk our natural resources for money? Why are we willing to risk our safety for glory? Why are we willing to do these horrid things in the name of something that isn't even there? And it just doesn't make sense. And they want us to learn this is kind of like our last chance. We are supposed to be learning how to be a whole, how to be human to each other, to ourselves. I'm cracking up as I'm reading some of the comments, and it's like, you guys aren't getting it. It's not about so much it's a catastrophe. It's and this is going to sound really, really weird, but this is the reason why I can actually go to sleep over this. It's not about the death. It's not about the catastrophe. It's about what's happening afterwards. Yes, there's going to be some really horrid things coming. And they're going to start coming, one right after the other, after the other, after the other. And we're going to get hit over and over and over and over again.
Wow.
How we come together as a species, not as a nation, not as a country, not as a parliament or a UN or whatever, how we come together as a species is going to determine how far they push us.
So they
Are we
will
going to be the next dinosaurs?
They will continue to push until we get this right.
Yeah. Because we're about to extinct ourselves anyways. This is our chance to finally... This is like the get out of jail free card, but it comes with massive consequences.
Okay.
But it's better than going to jail.
All right. Now, you and I live in an area, like, when we talk, logistically, you and I live in a pretty decent area. We can, within a short period of time, get very, very high away from the ocean. Well, yes. You're actually even farther away than I am. I can go upstairs here and look down and see the ocean from where I am. The fjord or the inlet that I'm right at the end of it in Vancouver. Now we have Vancouver Island, which is a giant block of like a great big lump of mountains between us and the Great Pacific. People south and north of that don't, and plus, I'm pretty sure a good shakeup is still going to send us a good wave up the Gulf here and up through this area. So, you kind of go through the different scenarios, and yes, we always worry about, a tsunami comes, what's going to happen? This is going to happen. This is going to happen. Fine, but it's the infrastructure that can't be replaced overnight. It's having to, the entire sewer system shut down and all the electricals broke. Well, it's okay. We just call the manufacturer and they'll make some more. Well, no, because the manufacturer is shut down. So where do you have any extras? Do you have a house up in the middle of up in the bush? Like Eric Markham, our buddy.
Yeah, everybody go to Eric's house.
Eric's, you could, in a rural area like that, you can drop a well so you could have your own water. Throw up some solar panels, have your own electrical. The problem is, being human, you're going to have the neighbors who don't have the electrical, solar, and don't have their own well and want yours.
Yes.
And there's where we're going to have an issue. And I talked to one of my favorite psychics, Marianne Morgan, who, huge psychic investigator, worked for many, many very well-known people, very powerful families. For some reason, she says, she's been putting away food for years. She's been stockpiling. And she won't tell me which of her houses has it. Drat. But she won't tell me exactly where it is. And she also is hanging on to her horses. She says, we're going to need horses. And I thought, I thought of that. Yeah.
No, one of the things when I was, my daughter was still itty-bitty. I was in a class, and we were talking about civilizations and whatnot. And I remember totally blinking out and totally freaked the teacher of the class out because I just spoke out in the middle of his lecture, and I said, the great manipulator was born of fire. When the fire is gone, the manipulator dies. Totally freaked the hell out of the teacher. But what it was is that humans have never learned to, well, at one time we did. We learned to be a part of nature. We learned to adapt. Once we figured out how to start manipulating our environment, we made ourselves vulnerable. You were talking about our infrastructures, our houses and all this. That isn't a natural thing. A lot of what we do isn't natural. We stopped caring about the natural world because we figured out how to manipulate each other and it in order to survive. When people think of the apocalypse, they think of all these things like gas and food and all these natural things. Your friend's right. Having a horse right now, get your herd together, get your farm together, get those things that back in the day, me and you talked about this a couple weeks ago, and I told you it's going to be, the first really big hit is going to be like the Great Depression. Yeah. And we've got to think like those people who didn't notice the Depression go by. I've got relatives from the backwoods, hillbillies. They made everything themselves. They grew their own food. They made their own smoke. They made their own liquor. They had the horses. They went hunting. I mean, being able to adapt and go with your environment and not relying on pumps or electrical or, like someone in here mentioned, in the chat, they mentioned that generators take gas.
Mm-hmm.
How valuable is your generator going to be after a while? It's not.
Yeah.
But if you know how to gather wood, if you know how to do the things that you need to take care of yourself, I mean, basics, back to the basics.
That's, yeah.
And we're going to be seeing this. That's the part that's going to be coming sooner. That's the part where we're really going to start seeing in 2019. Is we're going to start seeing this new recession.
Or depression.
Depression.
Now,
a massive depression.
When during the Depression in Canada wasn't as bad as it was in the U.S. And I'm guessing honestly, I'd never really paid attention to what the Depression or what 1927, 1928 was like in Japan, Germany, France, Italy, whether their system shut down. One of the things that you and I talked about, and one of the things that was disclosed to you during the reading from the giant angel, was the banking systems.
Yes.
Catch us up on that.
We're no longer like we were in the United States in the 1920s, 30s, 40s. We're no longer singular. We are now global financially. As much as we like to say, we're on the American dollar, we're on the British dollar, we're on the whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Out of all honesty, we've already seen what happened when Greece's financial market fell. We're watching right now what's happening as Britain is exiting from the global market. We're watching as these global markets are actually affecting us now. And it's really interesting because these people who haven't quite caught up to the times, that they're still hiding money overseas to get away from taxes where they belong, these markets are going to collapse. And that's part of what's coming soon. That's why it's not just a depression to compare it to what the United States went through. I mean, we're looking at a more global scale of financial insecurity. Money isn't going to be what it was because these markets are going to fail, and those funds that they've got stashed overseas aren't going to hold. In fact, they may disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's really going to freak people out, is money not being worth what it is.
Interesting.
Because that's what we rely on so much. I know, you know your worth. How many in chat can tell me what their worth is financially? Versus how many of you can tell me what your worth is in bartering?
Yeah. I
how
can
many
tell
of you
you
have a skill that you can barter?
The scary part of, and this is a good example of this, is that the dirt that my house is built on. Now, my house was built in 1947. I paid $222,000 for it in 1998, and nothing's really changed. But an offshore developer offered me $1.3 million to tear down the house and build on top of it. And I didn't sell because I liked the neighborhood, and we couldn't find any other accommodation around here for under 1.6 million. What has changed in the dirt under my house? Nothing. In fact, I think it was fill. Because it was kind of stepped on a hill here. They kind of built the steps into it to build the houses on. Nothing's really changed. It's still dirt. I can still go out there and cut the lawn, chase the squirrels. But seriously, there's all of a sudden it's gone up 1.1 million in 15, 20-ish years. I don't know. It's like nothing. It hasn't come. I was joking. I said, if you want that much dirt, you're going to pay that much for dirt, I'll go get a couple of truckloads and you can have it for half of that. But honestly, it's just the location. The location becomes popular because people from very, very expensive countries come here and say, oh, you're only paying that much for this? Well, in London, we would have paid. I was like, okay, don't come here with your London money, you hippies. But, now I'm thinking, okay, I'll sell it for $1.3 million. I'll move inland. I looked at an acre lot about 5 minutes from a beautiful lake for $270,000. And I could build whatever I want on there. A missile base to keep my neighbors away.
An underground bunker.
An underground bunker. See, and that's where we talk about the getting along with our fellow human beings. Those two words, underground bunker. All that means is you're not getting along with anybody because you're holed up with an assault rifle and a couple of friggin' bombs and a box of Cheerios and a couple of cans of soup. That's not overly friendly, mind you.
No, but right now I'm going through chat and picking out all the people on there that I'm taking with me. I'm already starting my next community.
You take, exactly. All right, when we come back in the next hour, after our 7-minute stretch here, we're going to open the phone lines up. And if you've got a question for Skeeter, actually, it's not really for Skeeter. It's for a guide that has stepped up. It's for the dude
standing behind me.
It's the dude standing behind you. We are not doing private readings like, please tell me if my boyfriend's got the hair on his back is going to recede. We're not doing that. This is all to do with the shift. This is prophecy. Skeeter, sit down. This is prophecy. This is Skeeter and I are joking about this, but it's going to get serious over the course of the show. The shift is delving into the dark side. We're going to touch on some things that people maybe would rather not touch on, but we're going to kind of bridge that squeamish, uncomfortable side of the spirit realm. And since we have an opportunity to ask these questions, why the heck not? And so we'll be back in 7 minutes right after this.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott, and I would like to invite you to listen Monday through Friday right here on Spaced Out Radio. 3 hours a night of the top stories with the top guests, ranging topics from UFOs to ETs, ghosts to Sasquatch, and everything in between. We are live every night, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. So come on in and take a listen at spacedoutradio.com. Spaced Out Radio will take you out of this world.
Hi there, this is your psychic medium Joanna, and I would love it if you would join us every other Sunday on Spaced Out Weekend. With host James Tyson, we'll bring you personal psychic messages on 2 mediums and a large. Questions about love, life, career changes. We would love it if you would come and join us live. Call in and listen in for the experience. Allow us to open the doors to your other side. 2 mediums and a large, heard only on Spaced Out Weekend at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for news beyond the mainstream news? Head to spacedoutradio.com and check out the SOR Spacewire. This is Spaced Out Radio's Eric Markham, News Director for the SOR Spacewire. Daily, I will bring you intriguing stories and outlandish reports from what's going on around the world. UFO sightings, paranormal activity, conspiracies, alternative health, and so much more. And if you have news, email me at news@spacedoutradio.com.
Attention Spaced Out Radio listeners. For only $5 a month, you can join Spaced Out Radio Space Travelers. Your membership at spacedoutradio.com will give you access to private fan area on the website, get you a monthly newsletter, draws for monthly swag, and a whole lot more. Sign up today to become a part of the Spaced Out Radio experience.
Strange creatures lurking in the night, the sounds of wood knocking in the forest, odd happenings right out of a fictional world. These are the reports I love. Hi there, this is author Ronald Murphy, and I would love it if you join me and Spaced Out Radio host Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month on our journey into the unknown land of cryptozoology at spacedoutradio.com. From Mothman to Frogman and everything in between. Hey, they don't call me the crypto guru for nothing.
Greetings and salutations, space travelers, from the Chronicles of the Unknown team.
What is Chronicles of the Unknown? I keep hearing about this thing.
It's a new paranormal reality TV show based right here in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. Follow our team as we uncover claims of activity on the Caribou Gold Rush Trail. You can also follow us here every third Monday, where two members of our team will be available to answer your questions. We'll give you some equipment updates and some of our experiences on the road, right here on Spaced Out Radio.
For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. With their money-back guarantee and the many benefits, how can you afford not to get one? Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com for mind, body, and spirit, and expect a miracle.
Patrolling the Pacific Northwest, we are always on the lookout for the strange and unassuming stories that real people are experiencing. Hi, I'm Vincent Zunza from Pacific North Weird. Me and Alexandra Sullivan have teamed to bring to you those odd stories that never seem to make it into the mainstream. Stories so weird that will leave you scratching your head wondering, is this real? It's as real as it gets with Pacific North Weird. You can watch our videos right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Find yourself constantly looking up in the sky, looking for answers? Have you had extraterrestrial contact? Are you an abductee? Looking for answers to your experiences? Hi there, I'm R. Keith Andrews, Spaced Out Radio's resident ET expert. Join me live the first Friday of every month, where I take questions from the Spaced Out Radio chat room and help you understand those from the far-off world. It's 2 hours of knowledge every experiencer should listen to. Hope to see you there.
Hey everybody, this is Patrick Webster Small, and I'm here to bring you the Webster Phenomena every Saturday night, live at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. If you're looking for aliens and extraterrestrials, well, we've got them. Big and tall, short and small. You're bound to find what you're looking for. So join me on the Webster Phenomena right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Hi there, this is Jolene with Rivulet Reiki and Readings, and I want you to relax. Let me help you chill out and get in touch with your body, mind, and soul. In this busy world, sometimes we need to let go, and this is where I can help. Visit my website, rivuletrndr.wix.com/rivuletrndr, or my Facebook page, Rivulet R&R, to set up an appointment for relaxation, Reiki, or readings, no matter where you are. It's time for you to make time for you.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Every month on Spaced Out Radio, we look into the deep and dark reports of cryptids roaming around the world with me, Rob Morphy from Cryptopia.us. I would love it if you would join me and host Dave Scott as we delve into the most arcane stories and reports regarding creatures of the unknown. My job is to hunt down the details and bring the evidence forward to you. These aren't your regular Bigfoot stories I'm talking about either. You can find out more about crypto history at spacedoutradio.com.
Tonight's edition of Spaced Out Weekend is brought to you by spacedoutradio.com, where you can now sign up to become a Space Traveler member. Now, for the final time tonight, here's Spaced Out Weekend's James Tyson.
Welcome back, everybody. We are with Skeeter Welhouse on the shift. Please give us a call if you want to talk about this, if you want to see what we can communicate or have a question to see what the other side wants to pass on to you. Give us a call. Our number is 1-575-694-6634. Again, that's 1-575-694-6634. Or you can get a hold of me on Skype at James_Tyson32. James_Tyson32. And tell you what, if you want to email me a question, you can email me at james@spacedoutradio.com. james@spacedoutradio.com. Fire me off an email, and those are the ways you can get a hold of us. Before the break, we were talking about that wonderful thing. The shift. The magnetic poles shifting will cause stress relief in the earth. And again, tsunamis, volcanoes, basically a natural disaster, one after another. But what Skeeter has been told is that before this happens, we're going to have kind of more of a human-based shift. That is, the banking systems are going to go for a poop. They are going to crater. It is going to take a global depression, which will cause panic, and which is going to make us become a little more frugal. So, good ideas to maybe put some shekels in a tin. I don't know, Skeeter. What do you think? Do you think we should be buying those little 1 ounce silver bars and going old school, where if I want a chicken, I cut a piece of my silver bar off and give it to you for a chicken, and that's how we do this? Or I trade you one pig for 20 chickens, or one 44 caliber.
I agree with the people in. I agree with the people in chat. Start collecting seeds. Get some cows. My husband has said we're going to be loading up on chocolate and candy bars.
Chocolate and candy bars. Oh, great.
Because that's how we're going to barter for everything we need.
Okay, we've got a caller in at 956 area code. Hi, who's this? Hello. Oh, somehow they hung up. I'm going to give them a call back. There we go. Oh, hey, Joey. How you doing? Joseph?
Hi, James.
Hello, who's this?
This is Skeeter. How are you?
Skeeter, what happened?
I don't know. I think maybe the aliens disconnected.
What's going on? How you doing?
Hey, Joey, stand by. We're just getting Skeeter organized here. Skeeter, are you on via Skype, or was that a phone call?
That was a phone call.
Do you want me to go?
Hey, Joey.
Hello, Joe. And we got Skeeter. Could you say something for me?
Hello.
Okay.
Do you hear me?
I can. Who's on the 956 area code?
That is me, Rosario.
Rosario, did you hear that we weren't doing readings tonight?
I did hear that.
Okay, cool. Rosario's first, Joseph, and then you're on.
Okay.
Rosario, what do you have in questioning this shift on what's going to happen to us in a few years?
Well, I was wondering, listening to you all, and about being prepared, and how some people are getting ready with their food, and just getting prepared or that have made their shift, are more conscious. And I wonder if when all this starts happening and there is a lot of people that wouldn't have, food or shelter or whichever way that the people that are prepared, how, if it's going to affect us or I say like the people that are prepared or more, conscious, like if those people are going to have a hard time, like seeing the people that are not, or like wanting to, like I thought a long time ago, I need to save seeds to plant food, when that happens. So then, wouldn't I want to share my seeds with them, like, because, it's the right thing to do? Like, is it going to be hard for those people?
You're going to have the haves and the have-nots. And like we've always had in time, I think these are the baby steps. Skeeter, jump in here, but you were saying that the big thing was going to happen more in another 30, 40 years. But these are the baby steps. Is this... Is the
my daughter's in her teens, so it could, but the gentleman behind me is jumping in, and he's saying what you're doing is that you're thinking human. You're thinking the way we're along the lines that we're hurting ourselves now. I've got seeds. Do I share them with the people who are enlightened, or do I not share them with the people who are enlightened? I hate to go Bible on everyone, but if you got... You share. You give. Don't give to the... Here. Sorry. For those who are enlightened, we're going to know those who need help. We are going to pull together. That's why we're being awakened, is so that we can pull together. We're going to know who needs the help. And what's scary is that the people who think they've got it all, they're going to be the ones that are grabbing the guns. They're the ones who are going to be setting up the reinforced bunkers. They're going to be the ones who are going to be, holding the fort. And, it's going to be kind of road warrior-ish. We're going to be having a lot of it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. And that's not going to be coming from those who are enlightened.
Skeeter.
Those who are enlightened aren't going to lay down either, and let these people take them. But they're going to be doing a hell of a lot better than those who are acting that way.
Now, Skeeter, I know how to protect myself and my family, and if I was off and I was in a location where everything was going okay, and I had a garden set up, and I had a herd of chickens and a couple of flocks of buffalo, and one of these road warrior guys showed up and said, "Give me your chickens, damn it!" at gunpoint. Is Spirit going to be really, really upset with me if I use them for fertilizer?
No. But the point is that you shouldn't be alone. You'll be with others.
Like in a commune kind of thing. Yeah.
You'll be in a commune. You'll be with people who are going to be going, no, this isn't just yours. This isn't yours to take. If you want to partake in it and join us, you are welcome.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Everyone is thinking, I'm going to look out for me. I'm going to look out for my family. I'm going to look out for my friends. Well, you're going to start having to look out for your family, as in human family. I live in an apartment complex of just over 500 people. I know not a single one of their names except for the upstairs neighbors, and that's because they are noisy buggers. But when this comes, I'm going to want to know all 500 neighbors' names. I'm going to want to know what they can do. What can they contribute? Do you know how to make an apothecary? For those of you that don't know, an apothecary is an herbal-based medicine room. It's the doctor's office of pretty pharma. Do you know how to make candles? Do you know how to fish? Do you know how to hunt? Do you know how to trap? Do you know how to track? What are you good at? Do you know how to work metal? Do you know how to do this? You're going to have to realize that it's not all on you. It's on us. It's on us.
How am I going to go hunting for I don't even know where to look for vegan tacos. But
I hate to say it, but the vegan crowd,
they're
and even as hardcore carnivores, we're all in trouble. We're going to have to learn how to eat like our ancestors did, which is a rounded diet. Whatever you can basically find that doesn't kill you when you eat it, you eat.
Yeah. Natural food like rocks and clouds. Rosario, what do you think? I think I more or less understand now what Skeeter was saying about more of the commune. If these guys show up at the gate and say, "Give us your seeds," you just invite them in to be part of the group. Does that make more sense, Rosario?
Yes. I'm just,
I think everybody's going to bring something.
Get it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like what everyone's bringing to the table, literally. And what can you do? What can I do? You guys are jack of all trades. You're in. You make candles. You can tan a hide. You're in. Going back old school. You can look
very
after
old
horses.
School.
Yeah, very old school. You can make spears out of rocks. Okay, maybe that a little bit carried away. Joseph, what do you think?
Very interesting. I love this conversation, actually. I truly love this conversation because I feel that, people do need to come together, sort of like a team, like teamwork, to work together. And that's what we mean by bartering, and, not only bartering, but working together and using talents, together, because everybody's got a different talent. Everybody's got a unique talent. So it's time for everybody to come together and use their unique talents for good. That's what I think.
I think you're right. And if you look at society, the way we've been going, we're doing it. We've, like Skeeter got through her contact there. We've been isolating ourselves. We've been putting the fences up. Everything's about us, maybe our family, maybe our neighbors and our block, but everything's kind of a microcosm, a small little piece. But on the other hand, we are starting to do a lot of more social things. We've got, and literally, I'm going to refer to this, but Uber. We have a lot of shared economy now. We have bicycle sharing. There's a guy who was on the radio today. He's got a whole bunch of RV owners who use the thing one month a year, and they got a big financial investment in this thing. It's sitting there for 11 months. They've connected them with people who may want to use it, so they'll rent it out and recover some of that money. So we are finding more of a shared kind of side economy to what all the other the consumer economy. But obviously it's not going to come fast enough, and obviously it's not changing our way of thinking as humans, because we're still isolating ourselves. Joey, do you live how far off of sea level do you live?
Pretty. I would have to say on a plateau. I don't know how far away. But I definitely. We're surrounded by water here on Staten Island. But it's more or less. It's not too bad in my area when the lower lands flood. Unfortunately, all those people get hit hard. When the hurricanes come and things like that. But where I am. There's not much flooding, so thank God. Because I'm on a plateau here, it's okay. So yeah.
Oh wow, that's not bad.
Joey's house.
Angelic goes. You know what is, Skeeter? And I know for the listener who's out there who's actually gone across the U.S., I've flown from here to Florida, and like from basically Seattle to Florida, across the country. It's not that populated, guys. The U.S. is the middle of that chunk of land you got, and same in Canada. There's not a lot going on in the middle. So if someone wanted to move a community out there, there's lots of room for it. And to get away from the coast, because the coast is what's going to go for a poop. Mm-hmm. And anywhere where you're going to have major earth, anywhere down the major faults in the U.S. and Canada. And what am I saying? Like South America, I live on the Ring of Fire, and that's not a fireball reference. That is the volcanic activity that goes around the Pacific Rim. It's known as the Ring of Fire, and it's always active. There's always something going bump in the night around here, whether it's an earthquake or Mount Baker, which is just across the border in Washington State. There's a steam vent on the back of that. It's been going for, since the last time it popped its top. We're all connected. And if something big happens, it's, look where the populations are. Our major populations are in Canada, is along the border, and then on the water. The West Coast is where your main population centers are, from San Diego to Seattle. Inland you get sparser communities, but they're there. But the big communities, Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco, Oakland, Seattle, they're damn near, Seattle's actually built on top of an old Seattle that is underground. So it's recovered. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing of what we are trying to accomplish by hoping this doesn't happen tomorrow. It's the big one, as we say, growing up here on the West Coast. We're always getting prepared for the big one. Earthquake-proof buildings. Well, yeah, it'll survive an earthquake, great, but no one's going to get to it without a boat. So it's a little bit awkward. Rosaria, which part of the country do you live in?
I live in a suburb of Detroit.
Okay. So you've just got the Great Lakes to worry about. North of you is the Canadian Shield. It's basically bedrock that goes up through Ontario, Quebec, north, and northwest. There is a few smaller fissures along there for you may run into some earthquakes. I don't think, tsunamis can happen in a lake. I've actually stood in one that happened in a small lake. I was wondering why the water was washing away from me. I was looking at it, and of course I walked out and then realized it was coming back quite fast, but just a little minor earthquake. And then this giant tsunami of almost 5 inches pushed me right back up onto the beach. But, we're going to be okay. Detroit, you may want to leave town. Honestly, get out into the more rural area. Go visit a cousin who's got a cattle farm and an arsenal.
Well, I wanted to ask about that. When I was listening to you all, I read, and this was a while back, and I can't remember exactly who, so if you ask me, but I've read different books or interpretations. I remember Dolores Cannon reading her books, and on how she had Nostradamus had came in one of her hypnosis sessions.
Oh yes,
yes, and so I read a little bit about that, on Dolores's interpretation, right? And then so I looked up. I Googled Nostradamus, and then so there's other interpretations, other people, right? Whether they're mediums or whichever way they got their information, and it just seems that it was a little bit off, and so I was wondering, okay, so is it really true? Like, for example, when you all said, "Oh, a certain person has been saving up food for years," but I'm not going to say which house it is in. But what if we think, okay, that area, on Earth is not going to be damaged and it's going to be okay. I need to go to that place, but what if it's wrong? Like, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not a medium. I don't know. So, like,
the energy behind me. The energy behind me is saying it's not so much about worrying about where to go and betting on what is the best horse right now. It's about knowing who to be with. I mean, if I were to go to where James is, and me and James were to go up to where Dave is, and we're feeling that's the safe bet, it's not going to matter if that's the safe bet as far as that being a good place for the safety as far as where the tsunamis are or where natural disasters are. If there's no one among us who knows how to farm or weave or sew or do the things that we need to survive, it's not going to matter. We shouldn't be thinking so much about where we're going to build our barricade. It's so much as where we're going to collect our community.
Okay. That makes sense, then.
I have another question or another concern.
No, you've used them all up. Yeah, go ahead, Rosario. Sorry.
Okay, so being at the place I am right now and my understanding, so let's say if everything were to happen right now, just an example, and let's say I'm at the place I am right now, as far as starting to waking up and, I do some things I don't, like, am I there or not there, what have you, like, enlighten or I don't know what term to use, but I know for myself, I know that I am I always feel sorry for people, and then, like, I get offended, like, just, like, I think I'm a little bit more sensitive than a lot of people that I know.
You're a touch empathic. And one of the things that you do empathically is that you take what other people are feeling and make it about you. Like, if they're feeling sad, you think you're the one that caused them to feel sad. If they're mad, you think you're the one that caused them to feel mad. Truth of it is, it's not about you. And this is part of learning to awaken, is learning to separate ego from what we're doing. I'm working really hard on that right now. It's really easy as humans to let ego lead us. We don't know any other way. It's what we do best. So as you're waking up, as you become more enlightened, knowing that there are people in the room that are upset is good. Trying to figure out why and knowing that it's not about you is not as good. I said that wrong. Realizing that it's not about you is a good thing. Realizing that you don't have to know why they're mad is good. Just acknowledging that someone is upset without making them or anything the subject of that anger is where you want to go. Because it's a lot more comforting for someone for you to just go, hey, are you okay? And if they're like, no, do you want to talk about it? No? Okay, well, if you need me, I am here. And genuinely meaning that you're there. That's part of the awakening. This, I lovingly call him Angel Boy. The gentleman that I read for, that's one of the things that me and him have been talking about is acknowledging each other emotionally and genuinely caring about those emotions. When everything happens, emotions are going to fly. blame is going to fly. Accusations are going to fly. People are going to want to know a reason. The truth is, for anyone who suffers from severe depression, for things like that, you don't always know why you are upset. You just know that you are. And having someone who's able to just go, cool, you're upset, let's build a fort of pillows and blankets in the living room out of the kitchen table. We'll hang out there till you feel better. You don't have to tell me why. That's more important. There's no blame. There's no accusations. There's no need to explain. It's just being allowed to feel. And you're going to find as you awaken, just allowing yourself to feel it out, it's going to be really rewarding. Does that make sense?
Yes. Well, yes. And I was asking this because I was going to where I was thinking, like, okay, well, let's say when all this happens, like, let's say if I have a lot of seeds, for example, and then, like, oh, I'm going to feel sorry for the people that don't. Like, so the people that are, like, in between, or that, that are very empathic, like, are they going to want to share their seeds, even though, let's say, they are with a group, with a community, because, like, where I am right now, I'm thinking, like, even if I'm with a big group, like, why would we want to share? Like, it's not right. Like, poor
but
people.
You're thinking
like,
human again. You're thinking
right.
human again. You got to realize it's not about what I have. It's not about whether or not they are enlightened enough. It's not whether or not they want to share. We're going to have to share.
Yeah.
Right.
Think of it this way. The seeds that you have in your hand aren't yours. They're ours.
Right. And they're not just a group. Like, let's say other people that come that you say they just want seeds and they don't want to belong to our group, like become part of our group, but they just want seeds and and they want to leave. So, like, just
maybe
give them seeds. Like,
maybe they would. Maybe they have something to trade. It's one of those things. We're kind of focused on the minutia of the event, but it's a good focus. It's a good idea to kind of think this through. But again, thinking it through, imagine the little compound or the group of us in this location. It shouldn't have a fence on it, because a fence means we're keeping something in from someone else, or we're keeping other people out. And if we open the door to let people come in, then there's going to be a capacity on it. You're going to have a guy at the front door with one of those little clickers, check an ID, and the fire marshal will shut us down. You're going to have to basically have a location where people, and Skeeter and I, we talked about this off air. Back in the day, there was a herd of buffalo or bison in North America, and it was hundreds of miles long and 50, 60 miles wide, and it migrated up and down the Great Plains in the seasons, and the First Nations, or the American Indians, traveled with the bison. And that's how they live. They're migratory with the bison, and I think there's 3 or 4 of them left. And it's like, but there was no fence. It was when the Europeans showed up and started putting fences around, they were shutting down certain areas. This is mine. You can't come in, and this fence is to keep what is mine here. So it became the my kind of mentality instead of the our mentality. And you'll see the Westerns where the native fellow will say, "This is our land." When he means it's everybody's land. We don't own, and honestly, you and I, we all know this. We don't own the land. We're just kind of occupying it until we die, and then somebody else occupies. In the way we're doing it now, in my house, I live here all my life. I die. Someone else lives here. They die. Or in my neighborhood, they tear it down and build something else on top of it. But we're just here temporary.
Comes in and exercises him.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah, it's... I had a ghost issue a couple of weeks ago, or a week or so ago. Skeeter helped me with, but that's a whole other story. But in the what's coming, and what I mean is what is coming, and this is coming through from guides that we were talking to. Skeeter was listening to, and she was not channeling, but being the medium for them. That what is happening and what is going to happen is first a collapse of the economic system. So the economic system, the money is going to disappear. Our access to the availability of funds to pay for things is going to disappear. So that's going to be a challenge. It's later comes the release of the energies and the pop in the various fault lines. Skeeter, if we can go back on that a bit, do you understand that there's a timeline between collapse of the banking system to the physical shakes?
Yes.
Okay, so what would that timeline be?
It's basically 2019 starts it all.
Mm-hmm.
And by, let's see here, my daughter will probably be 50s, 60s when it's... Let me shut up and let him talk. Basically, he's saying it's already going to start showing. Tsunamis are going to start getting worse as it is. The hurricanes are getting worse. The tornadoes are picking up. When we're actually going to start seeing the really big shifts in land, it's probably going to be within the next 20, 30 years.
Okay.
And that's when the volcanic activity will really start showing. What's going to happen when the volcanic activity really starts picking up is when we're going to see a lot of atmospheric issues, as in, what was it? They show a video of when the one asteroid hit the Earth and threw all that debris, and it actually blocked out the sun.
It's the one in the Yucatan where the dinosaurs took it on the chin? Yeah.
So
but we're not getting one of those, right?
Not yet. Basically, what it is that our own Earth atmosphere, with all the pollutants that are already in it, plus what's going to be happening naturally with all these things going up into the Earth from all the volcanoes, is that we're going to experience a much-needed ice age.
Oh,
we're already supposed to be in an ice age, but because of global warming, yay, we don't have it. So the Earth is going to find its own way to
cool off. Yeah.
To cool off.
Well, bummer, because I live in an area the ice age would usually comes down to.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at maybe more Utah than Idaho, Utah. I'd go to Montana. I don't know why,
but he said Utah is off charts if you don't go to Utah, he said.
Oh. Darn Mormons.
Montana's nice.
No, Montana, you talk about neighbors with guns. Hokey smudge. There's some communities down there. I may be too non-white to go to. There's some interesting places in Montana that I've only...
There's some nice places.
There are some...
I found coon hunting there.
I swear, I've been to Montana. It was a beautiful locations. I loved it. But there are... And this is my federal government brain kicking in going, oh my God, I've got to get through this town really quick. Make sure I don't speed. It's like, don't pull over. Don't use the bathroom. Just keep going. Don't look like you're gonna look. Don't look at anybody sideways. They're gonna blow you off the bike. Nazis. I hate those guys. Anyway, the Montana's interesting. Arizona. Arizona's always the pick, but that place is busy enough as it is in some places.
It's full of old people.
It's full of old people. Damn it. Hey, well, I'd fit right in. I'm extremely old. They don't need a lot of seeds.
You're not that old.
What? They don't need a lot of seeds in Arizona. Joey, where would you go?
I would probably go someplace in the Midwest, where it's wide open, there's a lot of land. I would probably say either Oklahoma or Missouri. Yeah.
Where the beer and the cantaloupe play.
Yep.
You want to go somewhere where plants are going to grow. Arizona plants don't grow. Cactus grows.
Well, if the ice age sneaks up on us, it'll get a little bit cooler and raining. And
yes, but it's not soil. It's dirt.
Yeah.
It's sand.
Oh. I've got a chemical that'll fix that. It's called ephedrine. No, how about, I'd still like to live in Fiji, but I'm pretty sure that'll be underwater.
Yeah.
Drat. Well, I'm thinking Jupiter then. What?
Jupiter. That sounds good.
One of the big...
I've got some stuff for you. When we get off air, I'll tell you about the planets and the way they were before all this happened.
Oh, way to go. You've just... Now everybody's want to come off air with us. Why can't you tell us all?
Do you want to know? Because I'm actually writing a book about it. Some people told me I finally had to share.
Okay.
I can't keep it a secret anymore.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that. It'll tease us for your book.
Basically, the Earth is not where the Earth actually was originally when the universe formed our galaxy. It turns out that there was actually some alien rivalry, and we actually used to have a central sun, and we used to have two what they call sister suns that went around, and one of the sister suns was vampiric to the other one, and eventually caused a lot of problems. But what happened is once vampiric sun finished off its sister sun, it caused a small dwarf and another collapse, and it kind of caused a massive shift. And our planet got knocked from where it was. It was originally known as Terra. And the aliens and those who were involved in Terra and Marseille, which is actually Mars, and I can't remember the other planet, but those two planets actually got switched and bumped. And the civilizations from Marseille actually were able to retreat to Earth, and that's why there's alien DNA in some of us versus strict Homo erectus or other Earth-bound DNAs. It's because of this massive solar shift.
So that would be the all those, like, during the time of Egypt, all the aliens showing up here? Or is that
would even be before Egypt.
Way before that. Yeah, okay. So were there...
Although they did have a hand in Egypt.
Were there actually humans, we'll call it the Homo erectus and stuff, where were they originally?
Homo erectus wasn't here yet.
Okay, so it evolved.
It's kind of like
crawled out of the.
It's kind of like those of Marseille were here, but they were in a shielded part, and so they saw the dinosaurs. They saw this history. That's why we're able to go back and go, yes, there is a history here. And as man came up, we, as Marseillans, started interacting with them.
Okay. Now, that history, you had this giant being during your reading filling up your apartment complex who we know or believe is Metatron, an archangel, who is biblical.
Yes.
So how does all this prehistory, Dinosauruses and those Homo erecti line up?
He says because we predate that.
We predate that? Okay.
Yes.
And then
he says what man has done is that he has made what he doesn't understand understandable by putting labels, time periods, and his own spin on it. Man is not comfortable with something unless it makes sense to him.
Oh, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, I understand. Hey, I know we're getting near the end of the show here, but could I ask, where is the information coming from? Who is this person, guide, being, and where do they come from?
It's funny. I've just been given 2 new guides, and they were just confirmed by a psychic that I highly respect, and another one at another event who I didn't realize he was who he was until he revealed who he was. The one is actually, his name is Jaredin, and he's a jinn. He's actually of Marseille.
Okay, and what is that?
We know them as genies. Heavy-duty magic users, jinns.
Okay. And where do they come
from? What would have been Mars?
Oh. So not... Are they the same ones that kind of appeared in Arab folklore and history? Is that where they kind of got that from? Okay. Alrighty. Interesting.
He says we're the ones who taught the people Aramaic.
Oh, very cool. And he's the one you've been dealing with most of the time here?
He's the one that's been in and out of my life a lot, it turns out. So, yes, he's one I've been dealing with a lot.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know that, and this is probably a human term attached to the jinn. They were, the Romans referred to them as the jinn and genies, and they're also a broader meaning of demon.
Yes, they're naughty.
They're a what? They're a what?
They are naughty.
They are naughty. Okay. Well, demon, to me, naughty means he comes in and he puts salt in the sugar and sugar in the salt. Okay. Demon to me, puts a hot rod through your child's forehead. It's which on the scale of 1 to oh my gosh does this guy fall? Because it can be good and evil.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
They can be good or evil, but it's humans can be good or evil.
So he's kind of neutral, benevolent.
He's kind of neutral.
Yeah.
He rides in the middle.
Okay,
but you got to realize, James, my very first spirit guide was a demon. For me, what people consider evil, I see as a
just
friend.
One of the guys. Yeah.
So,
what does a shaitan mean to this guy?
A shaitan. He showed me a container.
Okay. Like
I'm not sure what the hell
shaitan jinn.
I'm listening to see if he's going to give me a response, and all he's doing is giving me a dirty look. I'm going to be honest. I'm not getting an honest. I'm not getting an answer from you.
Okay. It's Shaitan is a devil, the devil in Islam.
Well, that explains why he's giving me a dirty look.
Fine. Just fine. And they were created by the one we know who is God.
No, he says that's not me.
No. The jinn, humans, and angels make up the 3 known sapient creations of God. Huh. So he's not one of them. But that is a jinn.
And the angel and the angel said, you got to realize, we're not of that either. So you've got 2 who are saying they're not of that.
Okay. And again, I'm just looking at some literature here that is a human way to look at what they described back in the day. So if they had this large black thing with horns and puffy pants, it was, was it Al-Malik, Al-Aswad, and a Djinn, the black king of the Djinns, and that's Malik. Yeah, so who knows? Does he have a human face? Or do you see a face?
When I see him, I do see a human-esque face. He does have horns.
Okay.
They're black. They're the ones that I've seen most predominant are kind of like the goat horns that go back. He's got the elven ears.
Mm-hmm.
Olive skin, amazing, changing eyes. I love his eyes. He's one of the very few spirits that I actually get to see the eyes of. They're this like really amazing, rich, deep brown, almost amber, and really. Just compassionate eyes. I just love his eyes. And now I'm not talking with the devil. I'm responding to the chat room. No, this guy is the epiphany of caring, and he's been very good about stepping on me when I start letting ego get to me and reminding me to be very compassionate and to be patient. Almost reptilian eyes, yes.
Real question here. It's because they are mischievous. How do we know if Mr. Jinn is telling us the truth?
I've had to ask that question a couple times. Is what I'm seeing the truth? Is what I'm hearing the truth? The fact that I've had other mediums tell me that this is safe, that who I've been talking to is right. The fact that I've had other people tell me these same stories without me even telling them. The stories that I'm putting together, I've known since I was a kid. I honestly never shared them with anybody because I was afraid people would go, well, how do we know you aren't making this up? And I thought I had a fantastic imagination. But as I've worked with, I did work with a therapist for a long time who helped me put together some of these pieces, of the historical pieces that have been shown to me. And they were true. And I've had individuals in my current life who are showing me pieces that they have seen of the future that are showing this to be true. So, I don't know. I am honestly taking a leap of faith.
Okay.
A lot has been shown to me that it is true. I mean, how can you have something like what I see come to you and not at least listen? And throw the ideas out there and say, hey, is anyone else experiencing this? I mean, people are going to label it. That's the thing that they're most upset about, is that people want to label. They want to put their mark on it. They want to say, I'm watching chat right now, and they're doing exactly what, you kind of expect.
Yeah.
They want to label it. They want to define it. They want to say, is this bad? Is this good? Is this dark? Is this lying to you? Is it telling you the truth? Well, I don't know. But I do know that some things have happened to great people in history, and they have said, something told me that I should follow this, and I did it, and look what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, my spirit guide, the one I call Matthew, he laughed when I asked what his name was, because he said exactly that. We always want to name things. I want to ask you, Skeeter, with almost zero time left in this show.
Yes.
Is my spirit guide Matthew around right now?
No.
Do I have a spirit guide?
Yes.
And who is that?
It is Matthew, but
Okay.
he's not around you right now.
Where the heck is he?
He says, God, man, I need a break.
Oh, okay.
But you've actually gotten a new spirit guide. In fact, I don't know if it's necessarily new, as she's just returning to you.
Okay.
She's coming back around.
Yeah, she dropped by at the winter solstice 2 years ago. And I've yet to know who she is. But she's supposed to be someone who actually lived at one time, allegedly.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you describe her to me?
The way she's showing me, it's actually early American, like colonial American clothing.
But more
I'm
like
feeling-
almost a man's clothing?
I don't know. I wouldn't say men's clothing, because what she's showing me is it's almost like British American.
Has she got a hat on?
Yeah, it's a 3-point hat.
Oh, I've met her. She came to me in the only time my that third eye thing kicked in. I'm totally friggin' goosebump now. Very handsome woman, and she was wearing like almost like a Paul Revere kind of jacket, but long.
Yeah.
Very pretty, very handsome, tall, pale woman with a 3-point hat. And I got a bunch of images that I'll send you. I drew them. I don't know what they mean, but there was like a triangle and an eye and something else. It was very, very cool. But and I got a whole bunch of cool stuff that day. Oh, well, thank you. That was her. That was very, very cool. I'm just wondering if she can confirm the information you've got from your guide as being true or false.
She says most of it, yes.
Most of it. Okay. So, with that,
She
ladies
says
and
the
gentlemen.
timelines are a little off.
Okay. With that, though, we are going to sneak out the back door here. And I want to thank Skeeter Welhouse. And you can go to her at bluemoonweaver.com. bluemoonweaver.com if you want to ask her anything. I want to thank Joey for calling in. And I want to thank Rosario and Christopher. Charge that battery. See what you're going to need at the end. When everything goes for a poop, you'll need battery chargers. And we're going to come back in 2 weeks with another episode of The Shift and dig a little deeper into that. Until then, just everybody keep an open mind.
This That's it. Let's roll. And hey! Let's be careful out there.
Far over the snow, what are those voices? They sing and they go. What are those voices? Look up for the mountain. Here come the mountain. Because somebody hide, somebody better hide on through the hill, like a pack of angry wolves on the trail. We are after you, dead or alive. We are out to get you, dead or alive. And forget yourself. If you're the one, better run away. Son, you are done. Throw your gun away. Here come the Mounties to get the man that are now. On through the hill, like a pack of angry wolves on the trail. Dead or alive, we are out to get you, dead or alive. If you're the one, better run away. Son, you are done. Throw your gun away. Here come the Mounties to get the man they're after. No!
I see dead people.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Dave's not here!
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection.
Greetings. This is Science Officer Spock, and currently there are no life forms available to take your call. But at the prearranged audio signal, please feel free to leave any verbal communication you feel is necessary. Live long and prosper.